will be Lieutenant Dave Cassalia from Nashua, New Hampshire, and the Weapons Systems Officer will be Lieutenant Stacy Foley from Lubbock, Texas.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, on the left, let's take a look at your United States Navy F-A-18 Super Hornet. It's on the roll.
Stigs rolling out away from the show center, setting up for the high-speed pass. They're going to head out at about 60 degrees off the show line, looking for about 1.2 nautical miles, at which point Dave is going to go ahead and bring the F-A-18 Super Hornet back towards the crowd. There's that turn. He's turning in, looking for the 1,500-foot show line. He's going to come in, bringing the throttles up. As we're approaching 90 degrees to go, Dave is going to unload the aircraft from about 800 feet, coming in at 200 feet, AGL, looking for 0.95 indicated box. Get your cameras ready. From the right, the high-speed pass. That would shatter all windows on board Langley Air Force Base and the Hampton Roads area. It'll be a little tough to take. Well, what's coming up next? They are being forced into their seat. They're pulling some serious G's on some of these reversals. What's up? Well, they're setting up right now for the minimum radius turn. You're going to see as the aircraft approaches from the left, as they hit show center, Stigs will notify Shade to select full afterburner, at which point Shade will initiate a 7.5 G turn to the left, demonstrating the min radius turn.
7.5 times their normal body weight. They will be pushed into that seat, and here comes the Super Hornet.
Right into the tailpipe. You better believe it. The speed is right with flying fighter jets. But today you're going to see them producing upwards of 21,000 pounds each for a combined total of 42,000 pounds of thrust coming out of the Super Hornet in full afterburner.
That enables this aircraft to fly at nearly twice the speed of sound, plenty fast for any kind of engagement.
You better believe it. I'd like to tell you those numbers, but they're classified, and I'm afraid I'd have to kill you.
Well, they're coming in from the right, but they look right slow in comparison to that previous high-speed pass.
You are correct, Rob. Right now, they're setting up in the landing configuration for onboard the ship. Those are the cameras, get them ready, because they're coming by for the carrier configuration from the right. 3 down and locked with the hook down.
It's that tail hook that makes it possible to stop a 40,000-pound aircraft in just a few hundred feet, catching one of those wires that are stretched across the deck of the aircraft carrier, with one of the strongest landing gears of any airplane in the world, because they don't have so much a landing as they do have a controlled crash. There's that tail hook.
to the left, they're going to reset, and now set up for coming from the left, they're going to do a loaded roll at show center.
That tuck under break is quite a nice maneuver in combat. You start to roll to the right and stop 3/4 of the way through the roll and pull, and you end up going to the left. It's quite deceptive for an adversary, isn't it?
Well, it'll work, but I tell you what, what's even more impressive is what's coming up from the left, the loaded roll. You're going to see Shade initiate a 25 alpha pull, pulling upwards even to 40 alpha at show center.
That's angle of attack. That's 40 degrees, nose high from the horizon. That's the angle of attack. Let's watch. And watch him pirouette right around the nose. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for your United States Navy's A-18 Super Hornet.
Wait, Rob, we're not done.
I have no doubt you're not done.
Better believe it. Shade and Stigs currently setting up. Once again, they're going to set up on the left. They're getting ready for the inverted pass. What you're going to see is they're going to drive out to about 1.8 nautical miles, at which point Stigs is going to direct Shade to turn in towards the show. He's going to set up on the 1,500-foot show line, getting ready for the crowd. At 1.2 nautical miles, Stigs is going to notify Shade, hey, it's time to flip inverted. Shade will go ahead and execute that at the same time, bringing the throttles back to idle with a negative G pushover so that the aircraft maintains level flight.
A whisper pass.
Shade will now bring up the power as they're getting ready to set up for the next maneuver. After a turn off towards the left and then a subsequent turn back towards the right, you're going to see the Super Hornet set up for something that really demonstrates the slow speed characteristics of this aircraft. Super Hornet is now setting up for the high alpha pass. Super Hornet flies this maneuver at 30 alpha. As you already heard, AOA, the difference between the nose attitude of the aircraft and the relative motion of that plane. Truly an incredible feat. Shade is going to execute this by pulling up, setting at 30 degrees, and then as well setting his throttle so that that 42,000 pounds of thrust is going to just keep him from falling out of the sky at such an exceptional pitch attitude.
This aircraft has a fly-by-wire control system that helps it to do this kind of incredible maneuvering. Look, ladies and gentlemen, nose 30 degrees angle of attack, 30 degrees above the horizon. I tell you what, it looks like it's only going about 100 miles an hour. That's true. It's about 100 miles an hour right now.
And sometimes, Rob, what you'll see in combat is the airplane that's actually able to fly the slowest will win.
Folks at Boeing have done it with the Super Hornet.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to those afterburners producing 42,000 pounds of thrust at 1,500 feet. There she goes. Stigs, let's say no. Hey, it's time to go. We see a tuck under, and then we're going to see another tuck under as Shade and Stigs are going to prepare for the carrier brake at midfield, setting up for the landing, and then a touch and go into our subsequent maneuvers for the Legacy.
Now, as we set up for that touch and go, we'll see what every carrier pilot, you included, does. The minute you get wheels on that deck of the carrier, even though you got a tail hook out there, you shove the throttle forward just in case something goes wrong. You'll have enough power with those GTF 414 engines to go around and try another landing.
Robbie, you better believe it. Every naval aviator prides himself on his ability to land on board the ship. And that means day, night, calm seas, or rocking boats. We've seen all kinds kinds of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, from the left, the carrier brakes.
I tell you what, we had a great photo pass there, but let's see if he's going to come back around and try a carrier brake. Looks like the crew is having an especially good time here putting on a naval aircraft show at an Air Force base.
You better believe it, they just can't get enough, so they sneak another pass in there.
Negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full. That high G pull in there enables them in combat to get in close to the carrier very, very quickly, bleed off airspeed, and get down, because you are sometimes recovering an aircraft every minute or so when you're out at deep water, blue water operations, right?
You gotta believe it, it's actually even less than that, sometimes up to 45 seconds. So you'll see an aircraft trapped, as we like to call it, and then be pushed out of the landing area for the subsequent wingman or other compatriot within the airway. Pretty impressive work.
Now, if you were at a naval base or a marine base, on the runway, they'd actually have a carrier deck painted with that ball Fresnel lens so they could actually practice every landing. And every landing you make is graded. How are you doing there, Crash?
Well, we're generally doing pretty well, and like you said, the ball. So what you'll hear anytime out on the LSO platform, the landing signal officer platform, is 206 Rhino Ball 75.
Now here's the touch and go, no tail hook here, throttles go forward and right back up for that incredible power. To maybe get our cameras ready and get a great shot of this Super Hornet as it comes by. The Super Hornet, a little bit longer, more powerful engines than what is known as the Legacy Hornet.